Okay, this is Number Sense Review. It's coming from Unit 2, and we are basically going to cover these topics. I'm not going to read them to you. I know you can do that yourself. Let's talk about exponents. This is a really common mistake. People think that and that give you the same answer. They think, oh, it's -5 times -5 is 25. Would you please write down what you think the right answers are to these two, and I'll give you a hint that they are different. Say equals and then what the right answer is. And then turn it my way and I'll tell you if you're doing it right. Got them backwards. Good try. You are correct. Nope, good try. Yup. 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 Got them reversed. Yup. Got them reversed. Got them reversed. Let me see, tilted higher. Got them reversed. Okay, a lot of people's first reaction on these, I'm not going to check everybody's here, I'll tell you. A lot of people's first reaction is wrong, and let's make sure that you understand why this works this way. If it's like this, if it's in parentheses, that negative is trapped on that 5. That is a -5. And when I square something like this, it means take whatever's in the parentheses and times it by itself. So this means -5 times -5, which is equal to positive 25. So the bottom one's positive, the top one is negative. Now if you don't believe me, I know half of you got it wrong and you think that's the opposite of what I thought. If you think I'm insane, check it by typing it in the calculator. You try it once with parentheses and once without parentheses. Telling you this one will come out to -25. The way I think about that is this negative here is like a -1 being times by the 5. But not parentheses, but exponents have to happen before multiply. Do you get then that this 5 squared can happen first before you put the negative on it? It's all about the order of operations, the order you do math in. So 5 squared is 25, then you times it by -1, makes it -25. You get that? All right, it's just one of those little things about exponents that a lot of people didn't know until hopefully now. All right, so if they give you x squared like this, and they tell you x is -7, which one is it? You get how a person's reaction might be, oh, so x is -7, so I'm going to put a -7 here. So is it in parentheses or isn't it? Because it makes a difference, because the answer will be different if it's in parentheses or if it's not. Well, I'll tell you this once, and hopefully you remember it. That x is like an empty parenthesis. And that's the best thing you can do for yourself for this class. It's every time we're going to stick something in a variable, make that variable an empty parenthesis, and then drop in whatever the thing is. So it's like this one, not this one, because they'd have different answers. And this one's answer is positive 49. So the answer for that one would be positive 49. Okay, so variables like an empty parenthesis, second and really important thing. These are little things that people often are doing wrong and when they're doing simple math stuff. And it can keep you from making mistakes on your negatives. All right, what is 3 squared? That one's 9. That's pretty easy. What's -3 squared? -9. I hope you just caught that one now. How about if the negative's on the outside? Would this be 9 or -9? Because this has to be first, right? Powers have to come before a multiply by a negative. All right? Or by making that, you can consider that, make it the opposite. So this is 9, and then this is the opposite of 9. -9. This one's positive 9. And how about that last one? This one comes out to positive 9, right? We established that. No, wait. Wait a minute. Ho. This one right here doesn't have parentheses around that negative on the 3. So that comes out to -9. And then you throw on another negative. That'd be positive 9. That's weird. Do you get what just happened there? This one's not 9. That one's -9. So then you throw on another negative on the outside, so it's positive. All right. Negatives cost you so many points in this class and in the next class, higher in pre-calc. It's just really critical to not make mistakes with negatives. All right, I'd like you to try matching up these. So when you're done, it should say like A, C, D, E, G, or whatever. It's okay if you do them with numbers, but I need the letters at the end. So when you're all done, it should say A, C, E, G, D, or whatever. I'm fine with you doing the notes here, but I also want you to have the iPad up because it doesn't have to be on these problems, but it has to be on a blank page so that you can write down the answers for me. So you can hold it up, just the answers, and you can do your work on that separate page if you want to. All right, most people are about halfway done, so I'll give you another second. Put the letters for me. Is that the letters? Oh, it's just, can you change pen colors for me? You don't have to rewrite all of those, but do it for the next one. It's impossible to read the green. I want to make it a much darker green, that'd be fine. Okay, if you're confident, turn it my way. And I'll start telling people whether they're doing them right or not. I shouldn't even bother looking at yours until later because I can't read the writing. Okay. I'm seeing most people are getting the same thing. I'm seeing CDA, EBF. Let's see if that's right. CDA, EBF. Does anybody want to just take a second now? Does anybody want to have a beef with any of those answers? Like, I think that one might be wrong. What do you think?
Well, number 3 appears to be wrong, but you can't have it the other way because you can only use the letters once.
Okay. So now, this one, this -4 squared that's in a parentheses, the -4 in a parentheses means that negative's trapped on that 4. That is a -4 times a -4. So that one is positive 16, and therefore it is A. But thank you for asking about that one. Either way, you knew that it had to come out to A, but you were using by logic instead of, that's the math way to show you. Are there any others you want to check question, like you're not sure they did it right? Okay. Yes, sir. Which one? Okay. All right. Thought you were going to say one. Yes.
I meant 5.
Okay. All right. I'll look at 5. All right. This one was A. Let's look at 5. -2 cubed. Now, I know you're thinking, oh, there's a negative on the inside of a parentheses, so therefore it has to be an answer that is positive. But what you should be thinking is, what does cubed mean? It means times itself again. So this means -2 times -2 times -2. Do you get with 3 negatives like that? That the answer would have to come out negative? Now you get it. Okay, good. Thanks for asking. All right, so that one comes out to be -8, which is B, so it was okay. All right, thanks for asking. These negatives things, hey, we're in the first couple days of school. If we can get this stuff straight and you can make less mistakes on negatives, well worth it. All right, square roots. That square root sign right here means the same thing as this square root sign. They are the same thing. Okay, it's just that when you have one that doesn't have the roof on it, that's actually the old school way to put square roots back when it was typewriters, because typewriters couldn't go into the next space. Get what I mean? Like they had to make a symbol that would print on the page, doink, once, and then it couldn't move into the next slot. The next slot was for the next number or the next letter or whatever. So if you had only slots, like 3 slots to put it in, that's how you'd make a square root. Nowadays, of course, computers have gotten a lot smarter. But anyway, if you see a square root symbol like that, it means the same exact thing as like this. Okay? And either way, what's the answer? 5. Just to clarify, I know for a while some people thought it was 5 and -5. Not true. That symbol means the positive square root of 25. So if there's any question in your mind whether or not -5 should be an okay answer, this means the principal square root. That's what the symbol means. And therefore, the positive answers only. You can't have an answer come out of a square root and be negative. All right. Did you know that the square root symbol actually has a little 2 right here? How many of you actually knew that? Anybody? One person. All right. That's there because as we get better in math, we're going to also be finding cube roots. Like square root means what times what makes 25. Cube root would mean what times what makes 25. I'll give you a cube root question for a second. Here's a typical cube root question. That means what times what would equal 8? And what's the answer? 2. So the answer for the cube root of 8 is 2. Because 2 times 2 times 2 makes 8. All right? How about this one? 4th root of 16. That means what times what times what times what makes 16. The answer is 2. So the roots are actually a family of things. You can take square roots, cube roots, 4th roots, okay, and we just simplify the symbol to be a square root sign because it's the one we use the most. So we don't make little kids in elementary school or middle school, for wherever this is the first time you learned this, write that little 2 there, but it's there. It's just a shortcut to not have to write it. So anytime you see a square root symbol like this, there's technically a little 2 right there. Square root. All right. So squaring and square rooting are inverse operations. It's just like if you have 3 times n equals 21, how do I get rid of the 3? You do the opposite or the inverse operation to get rid of the 3. So what do? You divide. Divide by 3. And that cancels off. Multiply and divide kind of cancel each other out. So if you have something squared, how do you undo squared? With a square root. So it's the square root. If I square root both sides here, it's the square root of 16, 4. But this is an advanced level thing. I'm just going to tell you a little early. The square root of n squared is not n. It's the absolute value of n. And do you remember that means there's 2 answers? Think about this. What could be underneath the blue splotch? 4 or what? -4 would also work. Because -4 absolute value is 4. Why is that? Because go back to the original question. Wouldn't you agree? I could put in -4 right there, and it would still work. So there's actually 2 answers to this. 4 and -4. And it's not because when you do the square root of 16, you get 4 and -4. You don't. The square root of 16 is just 4. It's because when you do the square root of a variable, you have the absolute value of the variable as your answer. All right, that's like a little tricky, but I think you can handle it. We're in an honors class here. All right, square root of 48. You got to be able to break that up into parts. It's just like if I had the number 20, I could take and break 20 into 2 times 10, or I could have gone with 5 times 4, either way. And then I could keep breaking it down. 10 breaks down into 5 times 2. But there's 2 2s and a 5 when I got it all broken down. Okay? Even if I had done it this way. 5 and 4, 2 and 2. 2 2s and a 5. See? Either way. You can take any number and break it down into primes. It's one of those like cool things about math. Any number can always be broken down into prime factors. Okay, this 48 can be broken down. There's multiple ways to do it. Who's got what they think is a fairly smart way to do it? 2 things multiplied that make 48. 24 and 2 is a good way. There's a better way, though. Yes. 16 and 3. That's a really awesome way. Do you know why? Because it'll be done right away. What's the square root of 16? So it's 4 root 3. How many of you remember doing this in the past? Okay, good. If you hadn't done it in the past, this is a crucial skill. We're really going to use this a lot, so kind of get used to this. Okay, the square root of 48 could have been done another way, though. You had suggested root 24 and root 2, and that's an okay way. I just got to keep going. Your way is going to take me longer. This root 24 then can break down into what? Root 12 and root 2. Oops. And this root 2 is still there. Can't drop that one. So now I got all three. Now I got to keep going again. Root 2 and root 2 and root 6 and root 2. What I just did there, I made that into these two, and from that. And then I got to go further. Root 2 and root 2 and root 2 and root 3 and root 2. Ugh. And then what happens if I put these two roots together? That makes the square root of 4, which is 2. And these two square roots together. That's the square root of 4, which is 2. And then it's 2 for this one, times 2 for these other two, times square root of 3. And that's 4 root 3. Man, it's a lot easier if I'd have just noticed that way back up here. So you want to choose wisely when you do those. All right, would you try this one? Square root of 98. Break it up. It's almost 50 and 2, but it's not quite. What is it? Say it if you know it. Root 49. And root 2. And then you're pretty much done. As long as you know what square root of 49 is. What is it? 7 root 2. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. That negative 2 root 8, simplify it down. The square root of 8 breaks up into parts. You can do anything you want, as long as it multiplies to 8. But there's a smarter way, there's a faster way, and there's a slower way. Let's try to do it the faster way. It's negative 2 times the square root times the square root. Mr. M, what did you break it into? Good choice. And then that means negative 2 times the square root of 2. All I did was change root 4 into 2. And then that makes negative 4 root 2. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. All right, moving on. This problem has no real solution. Why? Because you can't do square roots and negatives. You can't do the square root of a negative number. Let's make it a simpler one we'd understand. 49. Square root of 49, you all know it's 7, right? Why can't I do it if it's negative 49? Yeah. So if you do negative 7 times negative 7, seems like it should be negative 7 as the answer. But if you do negative 7 times negative 7, it doesn't make negative 49. And if you do positive 7 times positive 7, then it also doesn't make negative 49. So there's no way to do it in the real world. So we throw in this thing called I. It's not like we as the math teachers made this up. It was made up a long time. I think it was Leonard Euler, but I'm not positive. But one of those old math guys that really smart, or forefathers of math. Definition of I is the square root of negative 1. So the first thing you do when you have the square root of negative 24 is you break it into the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 24. Do you get what I just did there? Because 24 times negative 1 would make negative 24. So that's legal. And then the thing they do that's kind of cheating, it's imaginary, but they standardize and say whenever you have the square root of negative 1, let's call it I. So then this is I root 24. And now you can do the problem like normal. Once that negative's out of there, now you can just say, oh, well, square root of 24 breaks up. I times square root, and the 24 would be what would make 24? 6 and 4. Okay, and the 4 is really got a 2 in there. The square root of 4 is really a 2, so it's 2I root 6. Now, should I break that root 6 into root 2 and root 3? No, because it's not going to help. You get how root 2 and root 3, neither one work out, so that's good enough to leave it that way. All right, so I'd like you to answer these 3, and then turn it my way, and I'll tell you if you did it right. All 3 answers are different. Move your drink so I can see your answers. Yes, nice job. Yes. Take it, zoom in a little bit and then tilt it my way. I'm lazy. Actually, I just have to do lots at once. Good, 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 good. Still having trouble getting it? Okay, all right. Did you write down the 3 answers? All right, can you zoom in on them so they're big enough? All right, I gotta teach you how to do that. All right, so do you have the program Notability? Okay, I want you to head down there right now and tell them you need Notability on your iPad. Okay? We'll do that and then come right back to my class when you're done talking to them, okay? Because that's more important right now than those last couple concepts I'm going to teach you. So just leave your junk here, except your iPad, and just head down there, ask them you really need that fixed. Notability at least. Okay, good, good. Glare issues, okay, good, thank you. I think pretty much everybody's getting these right. It comes down to 3, -3, and 3i. Any questions on that? Yes? Good question. It can be I3, but it's sort of like just saying a word backwards. It just looks funny to a math teacher. So put the I at the end. All right, moving on. These should be pretty easy. Let's just say them. What's the first one? It's 5. What's the next one? 5i. How about the next one? -4. How about the next one? 4i. Very good. How about the last one? There we go. All right. Absolute value. It's defined as the distance from 0 on a number line. All right. So how far away is absolute value of 5 from? No, it's not that. Sorry. Absolute value of 5 means how far away is 5 from 0? It's 5. How far away is -5 from 0? 5. How far away is, well, no, oh, wait. This means how far away is 5 from 0, and it's 5 away. But then you apply this, which means opposite of. So what do you think the answer is? -5. And the only way you're going to ever have an absolute value come out negative is just if the negative is on the outside. Okay? And this one, first we do this. -5 is how far away from 0? 5. And then we say the opposite of that, -5. All right, so technically the definition is how far away is it from 0? So if I asked you this, I'm asking you how far away is -18 from 0? And you'd say 18. And you don't switch the sign so that it's like this. Common mistake. People think, oh, the answer must be -18. Nope, it's how far away is 18 from 0, and it's 18. Both of these answers are 18. Okay, moving on. I'll try these. Give me 3 answers. I don't know if you're really getting this. Remember that you do things in the order of operations. So this is kind of like a parentheses. So this has to be done first before I apply the absolute value. Finish up the number, then do the absolute value of it. Yes. The last one is the wrong sign. Yes. 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 Okay. All right. 9, 5, -6, and -12. This one's trickiest one. That comes out to +12. Then you make it the opposite. So it's -12. All right. Moving on. This just combines all of them. And, let's just talk through a couple of them. Where do you start a hard math problem? Where? On the inside is a good way to say it. Because what if there's parentheses inside the parentheses? You start on the very inside of the problem. So if it had been like this, I would start with the x minus 2. It would be the furthest inside. You want to start as far inside as possible. So I'd start on the inside here, and I'd have a negative 4. And do I have to do anything to that? Not yet. Then I move to the absolute value part, kind of work my way out like a chicken hatching out of the egg. Absolute value of the negative 4 comes out to what? 4. And then I go out further and say square root of 4. So that one's 2. Why isn't it 2i? Because the absolute value knocked out the negative before we got to the square root. Because we had to work our way from the inside out. What's 3 cubed? 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Now it's the square root of 27. That one you can break into parts and simplify. Show me when you've got it. Yes. Yep. 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 All right. 3 root 3. Good enough. I think that we don't need to do any more practice on this stuff. I think you're ready. The assignment is called Number Sense Review Worksheet. It is in the same folder. And remember that version 2 of the top 20 ACT prep questions, that version 2 is due Wednesday. The website is up now. And the answers are all there also. So this should not be like oh, I'm really struggling with this kind of thing. If you really don't know how to do it, go look at the answers and learn from it. I know sometimes it's hard to learn from the answers, so that's why I made the videos. On the same page, there's videos. So if you get stuck on skill number 23, little brackets after it have the skill numbers, you can go watch video number 23, and that'll help show you how to do it. But I know sometimes still you don't understand. That's where you should ask me. So I'm hoping in this last 20 minutes of class or 15 minutes of class, when you're working on your homework, some of you might use that time to ask me questions about this homework. Some of you might use that time to learn one of the top 20s that you know you suck at. Okay? Take the time. Ask me the question. I know how to do it. I can help you. Probably only take 5 minutes. All right. That's all I have for today.